to another episode of Stokes and Co. Presents Real Estate Beyond the Sale. I'm your host, I'm your guide, I'm Trenton Stokes. And today we have a wonderful guest with us. She's been in the radio business, communications, for over 35 years. She hails from St. Louis, but she spent a lot of time here in Birmingham the last 10 years with us.
Hmm.
So we're affectionately referred to as our own. We'll go ahead and claim her. Today we have Isis Jones. Welcome to the pod.
Hey, Trent.
Hey.
I made it.
Yes, you did. So
Okay.
glad that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Glad that you joined us.
Yes, sir.
So tell us, what have you been up to lately?
Oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No, for real. I have been taking this time, retired from radio, December 30th.
Okay.
So going into the new year, basically into a new trajectory, working with my own company.
Okay.
And just dialing down into marketing and consulting.
Oh, wow.
So that has been the gist of it, but still have a lot of other projects in the middle of that. So yeah, it's been busy.
How's that transition?
You know what? It's been a lot easier than I thought it would mentally. I think I had gotten to that pitch where I was like, okay, I'm really ready to do this. And better yet, having the opportunities and God basically delivering some opportunities. You know, it was an easy out of sorts. I am the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer for Thompson Rose Agency in St. Louis, and full-fledged agency marketing and promotions and so much more. Also the sponsorship broker for Brennis Brown Bosom Buddies.
Okay.
And of course, you know, ruling my own nest as Isis M. Jones LLC. So got a lot of irons in a couple of different fires. And the transition to those pieces has been seamless for the most part. Since you're able to let certain things go, you can make room for bigger and better things.
Wow. Well, sounds like an exciting journey for you.
Yeah.
And what brought you to the point of saying, hey, I'm done with radio?
I think first part of that would be, as we've discussed in some of our conversations before, Trent, the point of purpose. And I'm a firm believer again that God will make a way for your talents and your skills and your gifts.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing that I've learned in this season is that I have a number of them. And when you see an industry that's actually going through the throes of not finality, because I believe that radio is still your number one source for information. A lot of people, as we like to think that a lot of folks out here have, iPhones or different digital cameras. A lot of folks still don't. And so radio is their first line of defense in the sense of getting information. But for me, there are too many mediums in which to be able to get into. And I have a creative mind and a creative heart to want to actually, progress in these different areas and to challenge myself. So radio was in the frontier in an industry I feel like I had conquered to that point. And better yet, because of the changes in the industry, I felt more comfortable going out on my own and utilizing the skills that I had actually obtained over the years.
Wow. Good stuff. Well, let's take it back to the beginning. I'm all about beginning, middle, and end, right? So tell me what made you fall in love with the microphone?
Music, first and foremost.
All right.
Music. I don't even think it was a love of the microphone as much as it was just music. During the 80s, we still used to listen to the radio stations and that record and play on the cassette player, taping music and listening to the jocks over the years. Fell in love with the music. I've always been a music head. My mother raised me on 8-tracks and vinyl.
Taking us back. Taking us way back on that one.
Reel to reel. She had a whole mixtape on a reel to reel.
Right.
But my life growing up was just infused with good music. And so I grew up loving that. So the radio was the closest thing to it back in the day. We didn't have, the internet. We didn't have all these other different mediums on which to be able to actually listen.
Right.
So that was my first form. And listening to the jocks, I remember I got to Jefferson City when my father was a professor of military science at Lincoln University. And there was a college station there. Okay. And we had R&B. And I would listen to the college students because that was the only station, like R&B station within 100 some odd miles. The closest one was Magic in St. Louis. And you would have to really strain yourself with your antenna to get the signal.
Right.
I mean, they were powerful like that. But I remember listening to the college students and telling my father, I can do a better job than this. So as a father of a girl, a child by himself, raising me by himself, decided he was going to kind of play to my strengths or the things that I liked to try to find something that would kind of resonate with me. So he took me up to the radio station and I never left.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got to play music. And for the first 4 months, my mentor would not allow me to talk on the radio. He just had me in a side room learning how to read. Yeah. And so it wasn't an automatic love with the microphone. It was just music.
Well, let me go back a second. First of all, your father, he was a military serviceman?
Yes, he was a lieutenant colonel. He retired as lieutenant colonel in the Army.
Well, thank you for his service and yours. When you're part of the military family, you're serving as well, right along with them. So
that's right.
Thank you for both of your services.
Thank you for yours.
So you said it was never just an immediate love, right? So when did it switch to passion for you? Like when did it transform from being a career to passion, or did it ever turn into passion for you?
That's a real question, because I'm like, I don't know the way this thing is gone. Because when you think of passion, I think of people being extremely successful with it. And not to say that I haven't. I've done some amazing things over the years. But I believe, again, the passion was more set in service, being able to help people. It transformed for me when I realized that I could actually help people, get information out, connect folks, things of that nature. And that was I think that St. Louis pretty much kind of showed me that. The College Station was a little bit more self-serving. Right. But when I started to realize that, again, that we could actually help people, and it became very much of an altruistic situation for me. And that's where the passion came in. I'm kind of like, okay, I have this voice. I can get in here and play music all day, which I really love.
Right.
Tell people about things that are going on in the city, and I get paid.
Yeah.
But more importantly, these people are moving to these activities or events, and it's serving folks in a greater capacity. So when I saw that, something kind of switched, where it was kind of like, okay, I can be the voice for those that might not have it. So that really kind of transferred over for me.
Oh, awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. I see that you are doing a lot of MC gigs these days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're really talented at it.
Thank you.
I saw you at the New Year's Eve ball that we had for the city of America. Yeah, you did a great job. Shouts out to Bessemer as well.
Hey.
What does it take to hold people's attention? You've got to be very interesting to be in the space you're in. You got to be able to hold people's attention. What do you do? Is that something natural? Do you have a technique that you can share with us?
No, I don't. Now that you mentioned it, I'm kind of thinking like, well, how has that kind of gone across? For me personally, it's always been a point of being present and being in the moment, and basically locking in with people, interacting, looking people dead in the eye and kind of just singling people out and being present, just really kind of going at it. And better yet, being on purpose with what you're there for.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you about, my desire for a pit bull. Right. I have to be singularly, direct about what it is I'm there for. And really, it's usually the energy of the whole event that really basically dictates how I basically move. Because I get there early, I'm able to check out. Like I did the event for Commissioner Sheila Tyson and her Girls Power luncheon. And I'm just in awe. Number one, all the women that are in the building. And number two, to be a part of this. And number three, just the impact of the value that is basically being provided in this room and the purpose of it. So that inspires me to be able to actually convey that message. And so if we're all singularly on the same page and we're all present, that should resonate in some form, fashion, shape, or way. So holding people's attention is usually just based on, number one, what are we there for? What's the purpose of what we're doing right now? And number two, put a smile and some love behind it. It goes so far. I've seen people get in front of crowds and decide to belittle the crowd, for not reacting a certain way. And I'm like, that's just not how you basically do it. That's the way you turn your crowd off and really get them pissed at you.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me what I'm not doing. I paid $50 to see this show, and you're going to tell me what I'm saying. Girl, bye. Boy, bye. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to love on your people.
Right.
And that translates.
Yeah.
Just like being on the air, one of the lessons I learned very early was, put a smile on your voice.
Yeah.
People can sit there and feel that and hear it. And that's gotten me over for so many years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then on top of that, to make it even better, I actually felt that love and that smile, and I wanted to give it back to them.
All right. Well, that's a true statement. I could hear you enjoyed, or at least there was a perception of enjoyment in what you were doing, and it came across.
No.
And I think people tuned in to hear that.
Mhm.
Not only were you good at what you did, but you gave the energy that there was an enjoyment behind it,
Yes.
and that was, you were able to feel that. Um, well, Trent, speaking of what you were doing and what you are doing,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure there were some things you had to unlearn coming from communications to get into media.
Mhm.
Could you share some of those things maybe about what you had to unlearn making that
Well,
transition?
shoot, the first one was just that you're not gonna get a regular check. You know, that getting kicked out the
Yeah.
nest, still, feeling is a real
Yeah.
situation. And going from being taken care of to actually having to go fend for yourself
Mhm.
is a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be handed to you or given to you, your 401k, your insurance. You have to actually provide these things for yourself. So going into
Right.
business for myself and being an entrepreneur brought on its own sense of anxiety and trepidation.
Yeah.
But it also lets you know exactly what you're working with and lets you know if, in fact, it's viable. So that the unlearning aspect was, again, I think we talked about this earlier in the sense of sales, not being afraid. I never had a sale in my whole life, in the sense of my career and as far as radio was concerned. So to get out here and to have to put together a sales plan or anything else like that was a little bit unnerving.
Yeah.
And people automatically think, you're on the radio, so you can sit here and talk. No, there's sometimes I'm like, I'm an extroverted introvert.
Right.
Okay, that's my problem. I don't want to talk to you. I had salespeople for that, but even now, I'm getting back to that because we have our sales team. Shout out to Maurice. But you have to realize that there are skills that you're going to have to take on. The intricacies of letting somebody else be, responsible for your management or anything else like that, you got to do it yourself.
Right.
Do your own booking, be responsible, be on time. These are all other things I had before, but they really come into play, and you see how much your skills have developed over the years when you have to put them into an individual practice.
Right.
I've had to learn that everybody ain't ready to run,
Yeah.
and that there are some challenges in creating a business for everybody, but especially in the African American community and how we handle that. And I see where we have that perception sometimes that other businesses or other communities are better than what we have. But I also realize the lack of information that we basically provide one another and the comfortability of certain businesses when they feel like they've got it sewed up.
Yeah.
And you have to extend yourself. If you want to be relevant, you have to sit here and stay, relevant with the times. And more importantly, do that which seems a little uncomfortable. Being able to sit here and invest back into your company.
Right.
That was something that I've always understood, but until you put it into practice, it's just a whole different conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in essence, I've just learned to run without the guardrails and the training wheels. I think that's been the biggest difference, and better yet, the one thing I've learned and let go of the security and realizing that I still have the opportunity and the ability to actually make these things come to fruition because of my network, because of my skill, because of my education. When you put all those things together, I just don't think there's anything you can't do.
All right. Good answer. I appreciate that. A lot of us, especially being in real estate, we can relate to the not having a regular bi-weekly paycheck. You keep what you kill.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so we definitely relate to that. Let me ask a question. So what has been the most challenging thing aside from regular paychecks that you dealt with being an entrepreneur? Has it been time management? Maybe just having to discipline?
That is a challenge. 'Cause I know my business partners would just look clutch their pearls one morning because I was trying to tell them, I said, yeah, don't text me, don't call me, don't email me before 9 a.m.
Right.
You've had to put some boundaries into place with myself and with other people, but also the time management aspect of it. It's kind of like, okay, I give myself a clock. Because at first it was just, straight out the gate, first thing in the morning, I'm on the, but I'm like, okay, but that's causing a sort of level of anxiety. and taking away my peace in certain places.
All right.
And you have to be able to balance that. That is what I learned because I was going full speed ahead with, just doing things at 6 a.m.,
Yeah.
and not giving my time. But as I told my business partners, I'm like, no, I got quiet time between whatever time I wake up and 9 a.m. Now, you can go hard at it. Okay.
Yeah.
But like you said, the time management and being able to go, okay, I have more clients now. So therefore, these things have to be in place, putting schedules together, putting systems together that actually help me to give my client the best that I possibly can give, but better yet, make useful time. Because I think there was one lesson I learned this past year, and it was a beautiful one, but the very painful one initially was just realizing that I can say no.
Yes.
And I have to say no. And when you start breaking down how much you're making per hour, Trent, and how much time you're spending on certain projects. Okay, so is it their fault or is it your fault in the sense of you spending this time? And I used to always kind of bite off more than I could chew in the sense of I can chew this thing, but it's just kind of like it's a lot, and I probably shouldn't be doing all of this and having to go back and go, okay, what's necessary? What do I have to do? What are the priorities? But again, the biggest thing I learned in this season was basically putting systems together.
Yeah.
I do my posting, I do my scheduling, and better yet, I'm on top of these different pieces. So, yeah, time management was a big one, but I think that I'm conquering that day by day.
Yeah.
But that is one for a lot of us because you don't have anybody like over your head per se.
Yeah.
But I'm always mindful of the time that I'm giving to this situation because I can't get it back. And it's other hours or minutes I could be spending on something else, actually gaining some more knowledge or even another client, so you have to be able to manage all that. And I learned that.
Yeah. Saying no is critical. And I know when I first got started, I was taking on everything because I felt like I had to. And I mean, we're talking about, I'm going to take on this client. I got to take on this client. I got to take on this client. And I was doing everything poorly.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any structure, number one. And I didn't have any method that would allow me to take on a lot at one time. And so I ran myself crazy for a long time.
And I think that's part of the process, though.
Yeah.
You got to learn your limits.
Yeah.
As Rakim said, you got to know the ledge. It's just you got to figure that one out. And I think that comes through trial and error.
Right.
It's nothing that they teach in business class. It's something that you have to learn your own limits.
Absolutely.
And I believe in boundaries. Healthy. What is it? Fences build good neighbors.
Yep.
You gotta kind of adjust to that. Yeah.
I got to tell you about a TV show. Somebody quoted that last night. It's called Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV. You got to check that out.
That sounds about right.
You got to check that out. Let me ask another question in terms of what you have going on right now. I know that there's a lot of organizations you support. You want to talk about those?
Well, yes. And they're all over the place. I wish I had a list of. I wish I should have got a list on that one. But primarily, I am the sponsorship broker for Brenda's Brown Bosom Buddies. We service in free mammograms, also in rides. We help a number of different organizations across the city in support of breast cancer awareness. But it's open for men and women who are basically in this condition and going through it. So I help, build sponsorship brokers for them in the sense of making sure that we have money to donate to these other companies and better yet to run the organization for these free mammograms.
Right.
Love Miss Brenda and Miss Wilhelmina and Miss Rhonda, just great leadership over there. And I've worked with Miss Brenda over the years for the last decade or so because of the radio station, but to have her personally ask me to come on in 2025 was a blessing. So learning more about that aspect and helping out with the marketing as well. With my company, Thompson Rose Agency out of St. Louis, we do a lot of great work. We have just received a grant from the Levitt Foundation, which is a national organization that puts on free concerts across the U.S.
Okay.
California, New York, and Miami are the biggest hubs as far as, but we were the first ones in the state of Missouri to actually be able to put this concert series on. So we have 30 concerts over the next 3 years. So we got 10 this year, 10 next year, and then 10 after that. But we will be starting off May 10th in St. Louis with our
Mhm.
first show, which is Anthony David.
Oh
He's
wow.
going to be performing, and one of our good friends, me and Vanita, have been uh, harassing that brother for, for a number of years. So we wanted to kick it off with somebody big, and we love ourselves some Anthony.
Yeah.
But the Levitt series has a number of different artists that are going to be coming through there over the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So to make sure you check in with Delmar Main Street and actually check out my page, Isis M. Jones, and the Thompson Rose Agency on social media to find out what the schedule is for the remaining of the year.
Okay. Hopefully we'll have some information at the bottom of this.
Yeah,
That they can kind of tap
I'll
in
make
with
sure
you.
you get.
Make
Yeah,
sure you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
tap in.
Yeah, like that. I'm like, wait a second. Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will.
Exactly.
Yeah, we will.
Well, listen, I know your time is valuable. I'm gonna get you out of here, but I do have some questions. Just one on here.
Because we can do this all day.
We can.
Okay,
Listen,
that's the problem with me and Trent. It's like we get on a roll, and it's like, and I want to thank Glenn and ESN for introducing this relationship to empowerment, the organization that we are basically working through as well, and so introducing us.
Shouts out to Glenn. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Who you've been in the radio for that amount of time? You've come across some personalities, right? What personality stick out in your mind as that guy's crazy, or that woman is crazy, or
I mean, crazy is relative.
In a good way, like dope.
Right,
I could hang with this person even if they weren't a artist, superstar, etc.
Mike Epps, that's one. He is amazing.
I can see that.
He is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I had to admit, even our mayor, Randall, is fun.
Okay.
Randall is, when we roundabout, we have a good time.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of any crazy in the sense of everybody. I mean, they try to put their best face on coming in there.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Tamar was a little interesting as well. Mm-hmm. She's a beautiful sister, but you could tell
she's a real one.
She's a real one.
Okay,
she's a real one.
I can see that.
But I mean, everybody else has been cool for the most part. I mean, I think the one person that I really kind of gravitated to at one point in time was what's my girl's name? She was on Queens of Comedy. It was Monique and Adele.
Okay.
Those two are amazing. So is what's my girl's name?
Was it S'more? Was she a part of that? S'more, was she a part of that?
S'more's a beautiful sister too.
Okay.
All the Queens of Comedy I got to meet, except there was an older sister on there. I can't remember, but all the rest of them I've been able to meet and actually interview and just have some great conversations with. Monique especially was always motivational and inspiring, and every time she sees me, she recognizes me. So I was always appreciative of that. But no, everybody's been cool. I haven't had any crazy situations.
Okay,
I really haven't. Questionable ones. It seemed like whatever was going on at that time, it warranted whatever they were going through.
Right. I think for me, when I say crazy, like I think you're one way, but you're another, right? Like Charles Barkley, when I met him here, I met him at the Hole in the Wall here in Birmingham, grabbing some oxtails, and he was one of the dopest, coolest persons.
You didn't think he was dope out of the ordinary? Charles just screams. I'm homie lover. He just screams that to me. I'm sorry, he just comes like a real.
I can say that, yes, but when I met him, it was it wasn't high energy. It was pleasant, if that makes sense. It was so pleasant. We would just say, "Hey, buddy, what's going on, man? How you doing?"
I love a black man saying pleasant.
It was. We got to be on guard as black men, right? But to be in a place you can be pleasant, that's a whole different situation.
Yeah, Charles is one of them cats. He's easygoing, great personality, big personality.
Yes.
But amazing heart in the sense of just very, he's kind of like, assuming, but as soon as you get around him, he's very humble and very clear.
Man.
So
I could actually see myself, we just riding from one place to another and just really just being chill and cool and just, he's that guy for me. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, Isis, listen again, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
I guess you've already told the people where they can find you.
Isis M. Jones on everything, and also make sure you check out the next episode, which is actually kicking off, should be already up right now. I had the opportunity to interview Doug Jones.
Awesome.
And it's going to be an interesting conversation. I played 21 questions with him.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
you can check out the next episode with
Definitely.
Isa Jones on YouTube as well. And I'll make sure we have the information to you so you can put it under here
Good
and make
stuff.
sure that
Good
happens.
stuff.
So you
Hey,
can
guys,
follow. But Isa
don't forget
Jones
that.
on everything.
Hey, Doug Jones, one-on-one interview with ISIS. Don't miss that. All right, guys. Well, without further delay, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, to the next episode. Peace.